Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, welcome everybody. This is exciting. I've been watching at the bottom of the screen on the chat all the people signing in and the messages, and from all over the place. It's very it's amazing what we can do with technology. What a gift. So first, we want to Ken and I want to thank the committee that has worked tirelessly here in Arizona, putting on workshops and events and everything, and does this speaker series, this workshop series every Saturday, and anybody can join in, which is incredible. But just wanted to thank Rona and Linda and Lori and Christina, and just to everybody, just to do a heart sending love to the four of you for everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your service.
Yes.
It means the world to us and to all of us right now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
You get to say hi.
Well, hi. I'm Ken, and I'm a grateful recovering codependent, and so overwhelmed and amazed and delighted to be here today and to share this time with you guys. Welcome to you all, and we're going to take a little bit of time to share our experience, strength, and hope, and Mary's going to go first. So.
Okay. Okay. So Ken's going to step aside. I think he's heard me once or twice. So my name is Mary, and I'm a grateful recovering codependent. And again, thank you all for being here. This has really been exciting and wonderful for us to be a part of this. So I had thought, since the topic of our workshop is about living the third step in adversity, and especially during this pandemic, I wanted to keep my share to just that. Because I think of, like first going into the first step, like all the many countless areas of powerlessness that have been happening since all this has been going on. And, one of just the pandemic itself, but for that has created for myself just tremendous things. One, of feeling all the unknown that's been out there, and I don't know about any of you, but unknowns are the one things that can kind of bring up my fear and my control, because I don't like being in the unknown. I like to know what's going on. But it has definitely been something, it was kind of like this slow progression that happened. With all of this in Arizona, we saw some with the world, and then with the, in New York and California, and then it kind of just spread, into Arizona, and then we ended up being in lockdown as well. And one of the things that happens for me during all of that with my powerlessness is that probably my biggest thing is I want to get in and try and fix it and control it, to fix that fear, that uncomfortableness that's inside. It's like, what's going to happen? What does this mean? We changed our business into a virtual business. I had to learn Zoom, and probably for many of you out there, Zoom's a piece of cake. For me, it was not. And I'm a little bit technically challenged, and so it was took me about 3 weeks to finally get it down good to where it was something that I was comfortable with. And then yesterday we got to meet with Christina and Linda and Ronan, and have them teach us how to do this. So now we're even more knowledgeable. But it is something that for me, this whole process that has been going on, I've gone through a lot of adversity, as many of you have, I'm sure, in recovery. Different things, just living life, there's always adversity that comes up. This one's been pretty big, a couple of years ago, or a year ago when my son passed, that was huge for me, and really reaching out to my support and having to deal with all the feelings around grief with that. And then with this coming in, the parts that I really have to work at, like bringing myself back to my higher power. It's like this continuous process. I don't know about how any of you do this, but I wake up in the day and it's like, most days I just wake up happy. I guess I did that since I was a baby for some reason. I just woke up happy. So I tend to do that. And then the longer I'm up, some of the feelings start to come up. And so I go out and walk and I talk to God and, really work at doing that surrendering. It's like, okay, I know there's a power greater than myself out there, and God has never let me down. So I don't think that will happen in all of this as well. Although my fear wants to come in and kind of, play games with me and say, yeah, but, we got to control this or that, or, and so my whole process has been during this pandemic, one of surrender over and over and over again, so, when Christina was talking about, doing this workshop and a topic, it made sense for both Ken and I that talking about how do we live the third step during times like this, because I think it's so important. Just for my peace of mind, my relationship with my higher power is so important. We've had, we've had so many opportunities of just a whole different kind of connection. I definitely like face-to-face connection and hugs, and, I miss all that, missing being in people's energies, and instead viewing people on a screen is a little bit harder. And I look so forward to when we're all back in each other's energy fields. But it has taught me that, I just believe human beings are resilient, and, I look at what I came out of from my childhood and the traumas and the devastation that happened as a result, and what happened in my life as a result, becoming an addict, and, then recovery, and, one thing after another, and, that how much, no matter what, I survived it all. Today, like in our literature, we talk about, I'm learning how to live life, not just survive life. I'm learning how to love being in life, not just surviving life. I'm learning how to embrace love and peace and joy and happiness in my life, and not just surviving life. But I know that I have that ability if I need it. And to me, that's important to know. It's like I have that skill set to survive, to be able to kind of put that one foot in front of the other. And I will tell you, I've had to do that many times in recovery, but just put that one foot in front of the other and keep moving and keep doing the next right thing that I can focus on. Keep trusting that my higher power is there for me and walking me through. To me, that is part of what recovery has taught me. It has taught me how to be able to be creative in the ways that, I even do my business, or the way that I connect with, recovery friends, or connect with family, or, I've gotten a little bit, I discovered podcasts. Now, some of you may laugh because podcasts have been around for a very long time, but I just discovered them during this time. So I'm 66, so, maybe that's part of it, but Ken's over there making fun of me. But this wonderful information that's out there on podcasts, which I'm sure the majority of you know about, but I love hearing people talk about their spirituality. That's just one of my favorite things. And so I listen to a lot of sharings that people do around their spirituality and their recovery. You know, the other thing that has happened for me that has been a gift in all of this, as it's sort of like as I pull my energies in and focus on just my higher power, it's like unplug from the pandemic and unplug from the pandemic fear, which I think is a whole separate thing, and unplug from, you know, people, places, things, what's going to happen, what's our world going to look like after all of this. As I unplug and then just plug into my higher power, part of what I have seen and experienced is just ordinary gifts, you know, and so I've focused on that. So I've come up with this thing that I tell myself, it's like celebrate the ordinariness that is there, and it's simple things like I can go do the dishes. You know, I can do that. I can go clean the toilet if I want to, or I can walk outside. I can go into nature. I can go for a hike and connect with nature. And nature is a powerful way that I, you know, connect with my higher power. And all of those have been gifts for me. I am so grateful to you all for showing up here. We're looking forward to presenting the rest of our workshop, but just wanted to do a check-in before we got started and share a little bit about what's been going on with us with it, because I think it all affects us all differently. And my love to you all. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to bring Ken in, and he's going to share for a little bit, and then we'll start on the rest of the workshop. Thank you. God bless you all.
Mary says she could go clean the toilet if she wanted to. No, not me. Anyway, I'm Ken, and still a continuing grateful recovering codependent, and it's so amazing to see all your faces, at least those that I can see, and a bit overwhelming. I think one of the blessings of the pandemic has been that we can meet at least and see one another face to face. It's forced us to have to make this kind of connection that we wouldn't probably have done for a long time. Gosh. Oh, I was thinking about this earlier this morning that I could have never imagined, you know, 35 years ago that we would be sitting here face to face, interacting and talking with you around the world, and being able to have this opportunity to share our experience, strength, and hope, and connect, and it's something that's been near and dear to my heart. It has been that, and I've said it more intellectually and more factually, that we are a worldwide CoDA family. But now it's real, and I can see you, and I'm so proud to be a part of this family. We are all CoDA. I'm not, Mary is not any of you individually are. We are all CoDA. This is our family. And it's also driven a point home to me that that I've, you know, thought about, I've heard people say, but it's connected to, it's helped me to connect in my heart to the truth that we as a worldwide, we are a family of humanity, not only a CoDA family, but our CoDA family is a part of a much bigger family that this whole world is made up of, and that we can connect and enjoy one another from around the world anytime, anyway, and that we're no longer separated. And that just overwhelms me at times when I think about what blessings technology is for us to be able to do this. And to me, it's one of the blessings of the pandemic. When I've been focusing on, you know, what I would want to say about the pandemic, I was basically, you know, kind of had this epiphany last night. It's like, I'm not powerless over this pandemic. Not at all. The pandemic just is. I'm powerless over how I may react to the pandemic. I'm powerless over being the fears that I create in my head, the stories I tell myself that aren't true, the fear fantasies, because to me, that's all fear is, our fantasy. There's stories I tell myself about how bad it is or could be. So, so one of the things that I've been doing to limit that is to just turn off the television. And, it seems like it's pushed in our face all day long. And so I don't mind hearing a little bit about it, and getting updates, but the more that I focus on it, the more it gives me an opportunity to generate fears. What ifs? Well, what if that? What if this? What if that? I've had some friends who had their partner is in the hospital right now, or what if? And so fear, my belief is fear is my number one dilemma. It is the issue that drives my codependence like nothing else on the planet. And so that's what I have to start to deal with adversity. The adversities that I've been struggling with, or I made a list of them, and I thought, oh my gosh, we work in this industry as therapists, and we in the middle, around the beginning of March, we were watching newscasts. I think the one that stuck out in my mind recently was the ship that was quarantined and people couldn't get off it for weeks, and they were trapped basically in their staterooms, and it was still distant. It was distant from me. It didn't have a great impact on my life, so I didn't give it a lot of playtime or think about it, and then it rapidly escalated to the point to where we had to make a decision in our office that between Mary and I and 3 other therapists, we have on an average week, we probably have 100 people in and out of our offices. And the last week we were in our office, it was really uncomfortable for me, thinking that I'm creating an environment where somebody could bring this into our office and other people could get sick from it. I'm not willing to do that. So we haven't been in our office since the beginning of March. So staying home, creating a whole new business, moving our entire business to our home, but still maintaining our office, creating a virtual business basically, and then figuring out how to do that, how to separate business from home. Like the first week I'd finish with my work and I'd wander around the house fully dressed for work, figuring out where do I go and what do I do now? Because I didn't know that I could, wait a minute, I am home. Well, maybe I should change my clothes. Oh, that's what I should do. Because it was a long commute from the living room to the office upstairs. So just trying, simple things that were forms of adversity, it compounded basically, balancing time with myself, with Mary, with the business, with family, with friends, having my own time. We're pretty sensitive, Mary and I are to too much time together. I adore Mary. I adore her more than I've ever in my life. It's one of the things I love about recovery is I continue to love more than I ever could before. And I see new things to love about Mary. Like I'm going to hold her too, cleaning the toilet. So, her comment about that was, she's giving me the evil eye from across the room. So anyway, I'm in trouble now. But I've been in trouble many times. So learning just to create space so that we're not enmeshed with each other. I kind of look at enmeshment as, what's your favorite ice cream? Well, it might be chocolate. So if I gave you all the chocolate in the world, you got to eat it all, pretty soon you're going to be throwing up chocolate ice cream and hate it. Well, too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. So when Mary and I spend too much time together, we start to get picky with each other, and we get toxic with each other. which is just a simple way for us to have time apart. So we've been practicing how to get time apart, be in the same house, how to go to work, when to come home from work, when to stop, and how to have time with other people, how to have time alone, and then also connect with our family, which is a pretty big family. We have 3 kids and 4 in-law kids, adult kids, and then 7 grandchildren. So we're online all the time talking to just our family. So just time to exercise, time for entertainment, and for me, time to escape. How to just check out of this world and watch a movie, or once in a while, Mary and I will just have a great time binging on movies, and then nap, and then eat something and watch another movie, go back to sleep, eat some more, watch another movie, go back to sleep, eat some more, and then probably won't eat for 2 days after that, or watch TV for that matter. But sometimes that's fun. I would recommend doing it very much. And on top of all of this, we decided why not sell our house? So we were selling our house. We bought another house. We're in the middle of packing and moving and trying to keep our business going and deal with the pandemic and all the other stuff. So we're not bored, I'll put it that way. But through all of this, it's increased my need to check in consistently with where I'm at with, especially the first 3 steps, but predominantly the 3rd step. I'm not, when things get strong enough for me, I'm not powerless over what it's focused on. That's my trigger. I'm powerless over how I'm reacting to what it's focused on. So usually that's driven by fear. So frustration to me, fear and anger. Sometimes it's loneliness. Sometimes it's overwhelm. And overwhelm to me is just overwhelming feelings. Stress is a nice word for feelings. So I'm powerless over how I'm reacting and what I'm feeling about the situation. And when I can get that clear on it, it really helps me begin to move forward to do the 2nd step. And over here next month, almost 44 years of recovery, I've really grown to develop a loving relationship with my higher power. I adore my higher power, and my higher power adores me. So I'm not concerned about, that my higher power wants the best for me. So do I believe that my higher power can restore me to sanity? Absolutely. The dilemma comes in the 3rd step, whether I'm going to let him or her or it. I'm not quite sure there's any gender to my higher power. Am I going to let God restore me to sanity? It sets up a power struggle in me with, and that power struggle kind of manifests a couple of different ways. It's either surrender or holding on. Am I going to let go and trust the outcome to God? It's either fear or faith or love. Am I going to have faith in my higher power, or am I going to put my faith in fear? Because I've had my faith in fear most of my life, and I'm not willing to do that very much anymore. Although fear can drive me to control everything and make sure bad things don't happen, which we'll actually talk about later in the workshop. Do I trust or do I control? Do I allow or do I block? Am I judging? Am I accepting? It's always this duality between fear-based reality and love-based reality. So when I can get to where I can let go, simply let go and allow my higher power to take over and just focus on my gratitude and the things that are so present in my life that I have such love and care about. This program, all of you, this opportunity to share with you, delightful things that are happening with our family and our friends, with our business. My gratitude that no one in my family has been touched by this pandemic. My very few friends have been affected by it. We've had some losses recently, some dear friends who have passed away unexpectedly in the last month from cancer. So both Mary and I have been struggling with letting go. These are friends for 30 and 35 years. One was a sponsee, and both were unexpected, but I didn't know brought up some tears and some sadness. So when I struggle with the third step and the power struggles that I can get into about letting go or hanging on, letting God or letting, in love or hanging on to fear, etc., it helps me to go to the fourth step so I can let go. Because the fourth step is, what have I been doing? What's my part? Always. Have I been scaring myself? Have I been shaming myself? Have I been judging myself? Have I been judging a certain situation? Because judgment is just a symptom of fear to me. And have I been hiding? Have I been avoiding? Have I had too much time alone? Am I too enmeshed with Mary? My emotional reactions will always tell me the truth for myself. When I react in any way, I have a problem. As in my codependence, if Mary would just change, I wouldn't have that problem. But it doesn't work that well. And so I've tried to get her to change many times. And it usually comes back to me, Ken, you got a problem, deal with it. Which does help me. Journaling, the next step would be to go through 6 and 7. I can journal, I can write, I can pray, I can recognize ideally I want to recognize the fears that were playing out in my head, because if I don't rewrite, in my world, if I don't rewrite those fears in my head, I'm just going to give them time to play one more time. Because you don't scare me. I scare myself about you. I'm the one doing it. I'm the one scaring myself. That voice, watch out, don't do that. Oh, they said that. Oh, you're gonna wear that shirt. Oh my God, what were they gonna think? Fears of shame, fears of judgment, fears of loss, fears of hurt. And there's a ton of them. And if I don't intervene on my fear thinking, then it's going to control my life. And then I'm putting my faith in fear. So the third step is critical for me to right myself. And when I can right myself clearly when I'm under some stresses and put it back in God's hands, my world rights immediately. And sometimes it's like instantaneous. And then I look back a moment ago and I felt crazy. When I put my faith in God and trust the outcome as being none of my business, then I am basically okay, and all's right in my world. When I don't, then I'm out of control, manage, and manipulate. So, I have a zillion other things I'd love to share with you, but we're out of time. We're going to take a short break here, so about 5 minutes, if you would, and then we're gonna start focusing on the third step prayer and some written work associated with the third step prayer. So it is so delightful to see all of your faces. You guys are just great. Thank you. And so let's take a short break, 5 minutes, and we'll be back soon.
Invite all of you just to get comfortable, relax, and if you're willing to close your eyes and begin to breathe. Feel your breath moving through your body. Feel your breath moving through your arms and your legs and your heart. Breathe. As you exhale slowly. And allow your exhale to release any tension from your body. Feel your body relax into a lovely sense of peace and serenity. Now breathe again slowly, deeply, and exhale all fear, all tension. Feel your breath moving to your heart and allow your heart to beat fully. Allow yourself to align your magnificent, beautiful, beating heart with your higher power's magnificent, beautiful heart. And feel your hearts beating as one. Feel the love and the peace and the knowledge that you are one with your higher power, that you are never alone. Continue in your heart space and allow yourself to see the beautiful person that you are from the eyes of your higher power, from the love space of your higher power. And breathe. Breathe deeply of that truth, that oneness, that one love. Breathe in the hope. Breathe in the love. Breathe in the oneness. Breathe in the knowing that your higher power loves you wholly and completely. And breathe. Take a moment and share with your higher power one thing that you're struggling to let go of. And see the energy of that one thing moving from you to your higher power. Breathe and exhale. Again, breathe and exhale until all the energy has gone to your higher power. And notice what it feels like to let go and to surrender. Notice what it feels like to trust your higher power and know that your higher power only wants your highest good and love. And breathe. Now I invite you to take a moment and see all the goodness that is in your life. And share with your higher power all the gifts and gratitudes you experience in your life today. And breathe. And know that even the gift of breath is a gift from your highest power love for you. Breathe into this gift and feel your higher power's love for you. It is always there, ready for you to embrace it. Take a moment and be with this knowing, this one love. And as you allow yourself to come back to this workshop and to open your eyes, know that you are one with your higher power. Bring back the love and centeredness and peace. And always remember to keep the faith and to share the love. Let's take a moment for everybody to return.
we're going to move into a writing exercise now. And what we've done here is we've taken each line in the CoDA third step prayer and broken it down and suggested questions for you to write. And we'll do two at a time. And what we'd ask you to do after we've read through them, take about 5 minutes to write your answers, and then we'll probably have, because of limited time, we may not have enough time for more than maybe one to share their answers, but we highly recommend that you do share your answers with your support system so that you can process what's come out of this particular exercise. So the first one, the first sentence, God, I give you all that I am and all that I will be for your healing and your direction. The question one is, what does it mean for you to give to your higher power all that you are and for your higher power's healing and direction? The second question, what does it mean to give to your higher power all that you are and you will be for your higher power's healing and direction? So take about 5 minutes or so and just write your answers. Yeah, Mary set a timer so that we can stay on track. Thank you. Good idea. We have about a minute left.
So if any of you were not able to see the screen, the Arizona Events Committee on their website, azcoda.org, will have a copy of all the handouts and questions on there so that you can get a copy of them. We're going to move into having one person, if you can do the little blue handshake or hand wave, and then we will have, if you, Christina, if you could have one person
Who'd like to share?
who'd like to share their answers.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have Linda G from the UK. I'm going to unmute you. Linda, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Both of them? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Linda, Codependent. Thank you for the workshop, by the way. So my first answer is it means to let my higher power take care of myself as I am right now, to let go of my self-will in this moment and allow my higher power to heal me and direct me. And the second, it means to give myself to my higher power in the future, my future plans, my future self-will, to keep surrendering to God's will, also the future versions of myself, or what I think I should be in the future, to let my higher power direct me to what I will be in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
We're going to move on to the next two questions.
So the next line in the prayer, make new this day as I release all my worries and fears, knowing that you are by my side. So the next two questions are, how does knowing that your higher power is by your side help you in releasing all your worries and fears? And the second question is, how does knowing that your higher power is by your side help you during this time of the pandemic? And we'll take another 5 minutes to give you time to write down some answers.
Matthew? Okay.
have about another minute. So we'd like to open it up if there'd be one person who'd like to share their answers. I think you're muted, Christina.
I'm muted. Okay, so I have sobriety spell next. I think you're unmuted.
Oh, hi. My name's Danielle, codependent from UK. It's lovely to be here, and thanks everyone.
Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Mary. And I'm here
Hi.
with my sister. Also, thanks for the gift of the fellowship and the programme. I've written that knowing that higher power is by my side helps me, is because it means I can trust and that God will take care of things, more probably in ways I can't imagine. And again, I'm not alone. And God can carry my worries and fears for me. I trust that God is with me during this pandemic, because actually life was more stressful for me before. So I know that God is doing good things while all the difficult, sad struggle and suffering is going on too. My heart is with everyone who's struggling and suffering, and I know that God's love and grace is happening while these difficulties are occurring as well. So yeah, just that God's all powerful and helping throughout the difficulties as well. So thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Danielle.
you.
Good to hear your voice again.
Oh, thanks, Danielle.
The next line in the prayer is, please help me to open myself to your love. And the question would be, what is your process to opening yourself up to your higher power's love? And the next one is, how do you experience your higher power's love healing your wounds? We're going to take another 5 minutes.
Linda, can you move the slide?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's there you go.
That's good.
So just a reminder, we're doing questions number 5 and 6 this time.
Yeah. We have about another minute.
Okay, we'll come back to take another person to share their answers to question 5 and 6.
All right, I have Leslie next. I'm going to unmute you, Leslie.
Hi there, I'm Leslie, recovering codependent from London. Thank you for this meeting, and thank you for everybody who's organised this meeting. My answer to the question, what is your process for opening yourself up to your highest power's love, is I pray and ask my higher power what his will is for me, and I wait for the answer. It usually comes to me through a meditation reading, something I see, for example, a TV ad or a quote on a passing bus, or through another fellow or sponsor. I meditate on it. It may appear in my thoughts or my dreams.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
What about question 6? Did you want to have someone else?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't quite get to that.
Okay, Leslie. Thank you. Okay, we have John N. Question 6. Hi, John. Oh, wait, let me unmute.
There we go. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, of course you would call me on that one. So question 6, to allow your love to heal my wounds. I wrote down that I'm really waiting for that to happen. I need to cry for the loss, but have not let go and continue to suppress. In the past, I have let outgoing love heal me, but right now, the love hurts. So I'm really having a hard time with the questions right now. But honestly, I'm still a little active in my disease, you might say, and it's not as easy time for me. I'm working a lot with my sponsor, so still in step 1, not even halfway through yet. So I'll keep coming back. Towards the end of the week, it'll be a month since I've been coming here. So thank you all for being here for me.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. So the next 2 lines of the prayer and the questions, and the first one is, and to allow your love to flow through me and from me to those around me. Question number 7 is, what is your experience emotionally, intellectually, physically, and spiritually when you allow your higher power's love to flow through you to others? And then, may your will be done this day and always. Question number 8 is, what do you generally think your higher power's will is for you? Is it loving, demanding, fearful, affirming, joyful? So we will take another 5 minutes to give you some time to write.
We have about another minute.
So we will open it up for someone who would like to share their answers. First, to number 7.
All right, thank you. We have Lori L. I'm going to unmute you. Lori, you're up.
Hi. Thank you so much for this workshop. Okay, so what did and to allow your love to flow through me. I wrote, in my experience, is when I share with others what has helped me, being honest, and when I feel heard and understood. In other words, acceptance.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
And for question number 8.
Okay, we have Gabs.
Hi, my name's Gabby. I'm from Liverpool, and I'm codependent.
Hi.
I'm so grateful for being here today. And my answer to number 8 was that my higher power wants only me to be healthy, joyous, and free, and to succeed in making mine and those around me, around myself, lives good, spreading joy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for those of you that shared your answers in those. It was good to hear from you all.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take a short break, and probably let's keep it to maybe about 3 minutes, and maybe 5 minutes, Ken says. Okay, 5 minutes. And if you need to get a drink of water or run to the potty, any of that. We'll see you back in 5.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Is Mary
Thanks,
going to go
Christina.
clean the toilet now?
Say again?
Mary's not going to go clean the toilet now, is she?
No. I thought I'd wait till after.
No, but I'm gonna hold her to it, that's for sure.
Sure you will.
Yeah.
So, are we gonna review this?
No.
Yeah.
And Linda, I think we can go ahead and put the next slide up. Thank you. Big smiley face.
And then we'll probably not stay there because we'll move right into the first section. So. Yeah, we're gonna go through that next. Okay, cool. Good. Oh, no. Oh, you're talking about all this stuff. Did it, the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna see. I think the question. This is. Yeah. Linda. Linda,
Yes,
are you keeping time?
yes, we have 1 more minute.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We forgot to.
It's okay.
I'm sure glad you remember.
Ken and Mary, Kate and, from England wanted me to unmute her to say hello. She's been a friend of yours for 30 years, and I'm having a hard time finding her, and I'm not sure if she's still on. She said she had to go, but she wanted to say hi.
Oh,
Hi,
nice.
so Kate,
Thank
if
you.
you're there, hello.
Hello. So grateful that you're here.
Yes. We've known her a long time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find her. There's just a lot of, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's Christina, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Christina, you can type her name in the top of the chat box and she'll come up. There's a Kate, but I don't know if it's the one you're looking for.
No, she's gone.
Okay, and it's time for us to start again.
Okay,
Thanks for letting us know. We'll connect.
thanks, Linda. Thank you, Christina.
Well, welcome back. We're going to take the last portion of the workshop to talk about both the effects of the pandemic and then solutions, and then we want to open it up for questions and for sharing. And then we'll close with the guided imagery and then a reading that from Mary. So, Linda, would you switch the page? Thank you. Cool. This is not an exhaustive list of the effects of the pandemic, but they're pretty consistent with what we've been hearing and some of what we've been experiencing, but what we've also been hearing from so many people. We could probably make this list 3 more pages long, but depending on the circumstances with each person's life. So we're going to go through these briefly and talk just a little bit about them. And I'm going to start, excuse me, with number 1. One of the most severe effects right now that we've come to understand is isolation. And isolation is it's very interesting. It's very seductive because once we come under the influence of isolation, it leads to basically a low-level depression. We become complacent. We tend to want to sleep more. We lose energy. We lose a sense of vitality, and so it's something that is. We're going to talk about solutions in terms of responding to isolation, but in a little while. But it's something to really be conscientious about and safeguard because it's so easy. You know, it doesn't take very long. It's sometimes, you know, half a day or 2 days, and we're under the influence of it. And it is, the best word that comes to mind is it's very seductive. The next one is depression and PTS. It is, we're not talking here about classic PTS. More circumstantial PTS is post-trauma stress associated with some of the losses and experiences that we're going to go through down the list. And depression, when we're talking here about situational depression or circumstantial depression, it's not clinical depression. And situational depression is really a lot more about 2 primary depressed feelings, and it's the brain's way of trying to cope with these 2 feelings, and those feelings are anger and pain. And about half circumstantially depressed people tend to default to the anger, and so they're irritable all the time. And the other, that was me. And the other half tend to default to the pain side, and so they kind of close down, go away, pull back, all the way to some extreme experiences of depression where someone can't even get out of bed. But and again, all of these we're going to talk about solutions as we after we get through this list. So lack of connection with others, that's also part of the seductiveness of isolation. Well, maybe, you know, maybe I'll connect with her tomorrow. Maybe tonight. And then tonight there's some other distraction. So it's so critical to stay connected. Increasing emotional stress, including anxiety, and anxiety is, you know, an increased degree of fear, basically. And so we'll talk also about some of the tools that we can, that will be helpful in dealing with the emotions associated with this. I think in my sharing earlier, I talked about how the word stress just simply means stressful feelings. And when I can pour that energy out a bit in different ways, I can relieve the stress, and it helps a lot. So losses, including, and not limited to, but including physical touch. I think a lot of us have, you know, I've really missed people that I love hugging, because when I'm hugging somebody, I'm telling them how much they matter to me. And they're telling me how much I matter to them, and I miss that connection. But I am so grateful I have somebody to hug all the time. It's really made a difference for me in being able to have that time with you, how much I love you. I can experience that love through the in-person fellowship. I miss that. Health, we duplicated that. There can be losses financially, losses of job, losses of money, income, normal everyday life, and for some even the death of a loved one. And we'll talk about how to address some of these as well. And I think that's where I'm going to stop.
Okay, so I'm up. So the next one on there is circumstantial enmeshment, and you know, I think again, you know, because you know, you get more than one person together in a household, and there's quarantine going on. It's very easy for everybody to kind of get in everybody's energy and everybody's space, and you know, that can be difficult in there. But when that's happening, there tends to be a little bit more, I don't know, irritability, or, you know, just I want to get away for a while, find some place where I can just be with my thoughts, you know, without having anybody else around. But quarantine absolutely can create this. Changes in sleep or eating patterns, for sure. I know for myself, I've had this thing lately. I'm waking up at 3:30. I have no idea what 3:30 in the morning means, but you know, I will wake up, and if I have anything that I'm concerned about, like where Ken was mentioning, we're packing and moving our house. If I think about, okay, I've got to organize this, organize that, those thoughts tend to come up at that time. And so I've definitely been aware for myself of some changes in that way. Difficulty concentrating and sleeping. You know, sometimes, again, when there is so much emotional energy that can be going on, and so much information, data that's coming in, and not knowing how to sort through all that data and all of that, you know, I always have a sense, you know, it's like my brain can sort of hold so much data, and then it, you know, goes on tilt. And so then the concentration difficulties happen. But for some people too, you know, because there's not as much of a schedule, there can be disruption in sleeping and staying up too late or getting up too early, or just all sorts of things that can go on. Just the quarantine and the social distancing. You know, I just a little bit for myself, I noticed on this the other day that, you know, when I'll put my mask on and gloves on to go like to the market, and there's a part of me that when I leave, it's like, I want to make sure I wash my hands. I want, you know, there's this thing that sort of have developed on, I want to be close to people, but there's this fear of being close to people as well, you know, and so it's kind of an odd thing to experience in a sense. The loneliness that absolutely can show up, you know, when with the quarantine, and you know, thank goodness, again, I said it before, but thank goodness for you know, like our Arizona Events Committee and people across, you know, in the different CoDA meetings that are doing Zoom meetings and other 12-step programs, that there is some form of connection that's there. And then that, you know, Ken had mentioned this in the losses, the missing of physical touch, you know, just the kind of heart's desire for physical touch and missing that. You know, I have definitely noticed that as part of the effects. So Linda, if you could go to the next slide. Thank you. We're going to talk about possible solutions and tools, and you know, for living our third step while going through all of this. These tools are meant for suggestions only. Some are meant clearly to be practiced on a daily basis, while others can be practiced every week or two. Always remember that self-care is about action, which is also the process of CoDA recovery. And so these are natural tools to deal with depression and anxiety through loving self-care. And Ken is going to start.
Man?
Yeah.
Wow. It was really insightful once we got this list done and we started reviewing it. It's kind of like these aren't only related to self-care related to the pandemic. These are simply tools for daily self-care. How do I show up for myself on a daily basis? This is what recovery is all about. And so it's a healthy way for me to kind of check on the progress of my own continued recovery. Am I doing this? Am I working on this one? Do I follow through on this? You know, yes, no, and it gives me a focus for where I may need to strengthen my recovery on a daily basis. Because for me, recovery is absolutely a daily basis. It's a moment by moment, daily basis process. So the first one is pray daily. This is always number one. Connect and talk with your loving higher power always and in all ways. And what that does for me is it brings in, immediately, it brings in the greatest power that I know that exists, that of love. And when I can consciously join my heart with my higher power's heart and move and then start my day from there, my day is amazingly different than when I don't. So it's tremendous for me to use this tool. And when I forget to, once again, it's easy for me to, well, I did do it yesterday or today or tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, and then I get complacent, and that's when I get into trouble. Step work. You know, how powerless am I over the pandemic, and I feel like my life is unmanageable, which is that we've altered that first step a little bit there. But I am powerless over the pandemic, but what's unmanageable for me are my feelings and how I react to it, and what are my actions. How am I shutting down? Am I angry, irritable? Am I scaring myself about it all day long? And you know, going back to what we were talking about earlier in the workshop, the step work is And the third step especially is so helpful for me to reconnect. And I can do that very quickly in my head. I don't have to really sit down and write about it unless there's something there that I really want to write about. Meditate. Meditation for me, it helps me to remember to stop thinking. Basically, just to stop thinking. And when I stop thinking is usually where I find my higher power. Because as an old crusty sponsor once told me, not even of this program, but of programs way back, and he basically said, Ken, I'm saying it kindly. He didn't say it kindly. He said, Ken, your best thinking got you here. What the hell does that say about your best thinking? So we don't care what you think. When I can stop thinking is where I find my higher power. And meditation helps me to practice that. And people ask me all the time, how to meditate. What do what's the best way to meditate? Do I prefer one over the other? And I prefer many ways of meditating personally. There are 1,001 ways to meditate, and I encourage people to find a way that allows you to calm your mind and your heart and to connect with your higher power. It's exactly what the 11th step is all about. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact. Well, when my mind is thinking and I'm fearing and what am I going to do to control this and that, I'm not connecting with my higher power, and I'm not consciously, what I am consciously connected with is fear. And then how am I going to connect with and control the circumstance so that the bad thing that my fear is telling me won't happen? Like I have that kind of power. Breathe deeply, exhale slowly, and repeat. It really does bring me back to the now, to the moment. So when my thoughts are racing and the fear story and the fear show is running in my head, and sometimes it really helps me just to stop, focus on one thing, and take a deep breath. And then breathe again, and then breathe again. And just pay attention to my breathing. It brings me back to the here and now. And almost always when I come back to the here and now, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Right now, I have clothes, I have a roof over my head, I have a home, I am loved, I'm cared about, I have food in the refrigerator. Some of that might not be toilet paper in the closet, but we'll make do. By the way, if you want some, I got a deal for you. No, I'm just kidding. And all is well. And the fear takes me out of the now. It always drives me into the future. Because fear isn't about the here and now. Fear is about bad things that are about to happen or could happen, or what they might say, which is the fear of shame, how they might judge me. Fear is what drives me to be in control and play God. And so stopping, breathing, slowing down, paying attention to focusing back and connecting with my heart, and then connecting my heart with my higher power's heart. Well, my higher power's heart is always here. It never leaves. I'm the one who goes away. So I have to go find it again. And all I'm really doing is remembering that my higher power is already here, and my higher power in almost 44 years has not let me down one time. Not one time. And the older I get, the more I've been experiencing, as I stay connected in my heart, the older I get, the more I've been experiencing tears of joy. And there was a day, because I was a raging, violent guy who pulled people out of cars at stoplights when I was drinking and using drugs. So tears weren't a thing that even existed in my world. So today I love the tears. So they come straight from my heart, and they allow me to cleanse my soul and feel amazing at the time. And I used to think something was wrong with me, and the reality is there's nothing wrong. So exercise, there's something, in a way, it's magical about whatever forms of exercise we choose. if we can move our body and change the chemistry in the brain, it can pull us out of depression. It can pull us out of loneliness. It can pull us out of anxiety. Because when I'm exercising, I'm showing up for me, and I'm doing that for me. I'm increasing my heart rate, and I try to do so at least 3 times a week, maybe 4. I've been trying to do it more with pandemic because I get weary being in the house that much in my body. I can feel it in my body, so exercise helps move some of that. And connection to others through any way possible, safe but possible. Zoom CoDA meetings like this one. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were saying, I'm saying, are you getting the meetings? And this was in another program. He belongs to another program. And he said, yeah, I've been getting a lot of meetings. Went to a meeting in Italy. It was one of the best NA meetings I've ever been to. It was like, did you understand the language? Well, this was English speaking. And it was like, well, there's meetings now around the world because we are one big, huge family. It's just delights my heart. It absolutely delights my heart. FaceTime talks with friends and family. If safe, spend time with others while practicing social distancing. I know I have some friends who they gather at a park. They're not supposed to, but they do. And they have, they have 6 foot spacing between chairs, but they gather apart and they make sure they have coffee and they do their own version of a meeting. Is, short of being able to hug someone, that's the next best thing. So if you don't know of one like that, create it. Go look for it. Find out who's doing that. But these are all steps that take us out of isolation. And isolation is dangerous because it leads us down a path we don't really want to go. Phone calls, people ask me, okay, you say I should reach out to others. And well, how often do I have to do that? I said, as often as you need to until you want to. So if you got to call somebody every day, go call someone every day. Call 2 or 3 people a day. Just don't isolate. Make connection. Email. Social media. Some of these are they're given. So they're, there's nothing new that we could add to this list. It isn't just automatic, but connect. Doing this alone, doing any kind of recovery alone, I'm not in good company when I'm doing it alone. Bottom line, I'm just not in good company when I'm doing this alone. Like that old sponsor said, alone, my best thinking got me here. What does that say about my best thinking? So reaching out to others gives me, it does a lot. It allows me to be validated by people I know that love and care about me. And they'll also tell me when they don't think what I'm doing is in my best interest. Some of them rather abruptly, and for which I'm grateful for, because I like people who are direct with me, do it kindly, but be direct. I have a hard time with people self-selling. So I'm going to be quiet here for a few minutes, and Mary's going to read a few more.
So the next one, I think, thank you, Linda. You're on top of it. So the doing Zoom study groups, so when we were going through all this, we were looking, we always like to get out the pamphlets and kind of look at all the information, because CoDA has such we have a great literature committee that has put out wonderful, wonderful literature. And there's, so taking some of those pamphlets and the booklets, or taking the step workbook on the steps and traditions, or the CoDA Blue book, but doing like a study group where you go through it and then you discuss what is there, and but putting study groups together is another way to help during this time. And then I use this one a lot just for myself, but to ask yourself, it's like, what would my higher power say about fill in the blank, or how would my higher power comfort me right now? Or, you know, I need to share something with somebody, you know, how would my higher power, you know, view this, see this, encourage me to talk about it. But I love my connection personally with my higher power, and it is like the core of who I am. So I'm always in my prayers every day. I'm always asking that God use me as a channel to, you know, that my thoughts are God's thoughts, that my actions are God's actions, that my, you know, way of seeing things and the wisdom that comes through me is coming through my higher power. And it helps me stay, couple things, it helps me stay right size. It also helps me stay focused in putting my higher power first, and kind of not going into that place. In our program, we talk about conflict in gods, you know, where we can make people, places, things our higher power, but we can also make feelings. So, you know, fear can become my higher power, or rage can become my higher power, pain or shame, or, you know, just about anything can. So bringing it back to asking myself, like, how would my higher power experience a certain situation, or how would they say something about different situations or different interactions, helps me a lot. It gets me into that wise place that's inside of me, that personally I think we all have this really wonderful wise person in us, and just accessing it. So a daily dialogue with my inner child, and especially with my inner teen, is probably who I need to check in with a little bit more than anything else, because but I love that part of me. So in my journal book, I have a piece of paper, and so I put, I copied 4 pictures of me at different ages. And so when I get out and do some journaling, a lot of times I get those pictures out, and it helps me connect when I see the preciousness of who I was at those ages, who I still am. And to know that sometimes, you know, when I get into my, you know, what I've noticed with dealing with, just since the whole pandemic issue's been going on, is that the fear comes up, or the sadness and the missing. You know, my little girl gets lonely in there, and my teen wants to control it all, you know. So she wants to fix it, make it better, you know, all those different things. And so I have to kind of rein her back in a little bit and lovingly parent her. And but that daily dialogue is so important. You know, I think in our, you know, Ken and I both talk about this, but from that child self and from the teen, you know, that part of us is where our emotions and our feelings come from. And so, you know, me talking with that part of me that is scared or angry or sad or lonely, you know, I haven't seen the grandkids except for, you know, virtually, and, you know, all of that, you know, I need to lovingly be there for her and take care of her. Loving affirmations. You know, all of us with that toxic shame have enough of the critical, negative self-talk that's there, you know, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm whatever our little negative self-talk is, that, you know, intervening on that and loving ourselves and affirming ourselves the truth Ken has a thing that he does with people that I just really love, and so I've used it as well. But you know, to look at it's like, how would my higher power, what my higher power's greatest loving truth be about me, and have those as my affirmations, as that is who I am. You know, journaling my thoughts and my feelings. What I know, you know, and have seen, been taught, have experienced, everything else, my thoughts create my feelings. So if my feelings are out of whack and I'm letting kind of those scary childhood thoughts starting to resurface that maybe I experienced in childhood. One of the things that I've noticed with the quarantine is my home was not a safe place for me growing up, and I was always escaping. I was this little escape artist. You know, I'd crawl out my bedroom window. I would, you know, I won't go into all the ways that I would escape, but my home was never safe to me, and so I always felt trapped. So the quarantine has brought about a little bit of that feeling of trapped for me. And so I've had, again, going back to the daily dialogue, I've had to talk with my little girl and my teen of going, you know, but we've, you know, this is a safe home. We are quarantined right now, but this isn't our childhood home. And it's like, you know, I get that, you know, when I'm journaling, I can hear some of those thoughts that come out about where some of my history is getting triggered. So number 12, and we have, if you go on again to the azcoda.org website, the handouts will be there from this workshop. There's an additional handout in there on how to do emotional release work. And I do this on a daily basis. So this is one of those tools that I have used on a daily basis during all of this. But some of you that know me or have experienced Ken and I in any way know that we talk about kind of roaring from our belly, and but using intention, like roaring, but using intentional thoughts, like I'm releasing this fear, I'm releasing this anger, I'm releasing this loneliness, I'm releasing that toxic shame, I'm, you know, doing this emotional release work. And Ken was talking about exercise, and so I'll use movement, like shaking it off, you know, just letting my body move and shake it off, because it, you know, there's no minimizing of the effects that this has had on so many countless people around the globe, and I definitely have experienced it. So you're up.
Okay. Excuse me. Number 13, do a fear list exercise. Basically, it's like write out one-liners of the things that you may be afraid of, the things you're worried about, you're fretting about, the things you're anxious about. Because I will fret about some things, but be nervous about other things. And they're all just degrees of fear. So a little bit of fear we call worry or fretting. A little bit more anxious or nervous. More than that, you know, afraid, scared, all the way up to paranoid, panic, and terrified. But they're all degrees of one feeling called fear. And so anything beyond concern, which is healthy fear, is toxic fear. And most of us were raised in environments where that fear ran the show. It controlled the authority figures. We learned to fear. We learned to fear them. We learned to use fear to keep us on top of everything. And in my world, if I can control, you know, I get up and start the fear goes, you know, well, you better take care of that. We've got to cover, what about, and we should make sure that this, and what about, you know, driving me crazy. And so if at the end of the day, I was able to control, manage, and manipulate every single one of those fears, and everything turned out okay, oh, it was a good day. It was a good day because I controlled everything and no bad stuff happened. That's the only reason it was a good day. But I did it, which then psychologically reinforces to me that, well, I better do this tomorrow. So then I'll wake up tomorrow and start the same rhetoric. And then pretty soon, that happened to me as a child. So it became the most normal way to manage, manipulate, and control my world so the bad stuff wouldn't happen. Manage and manipulate and control you and people and circumstances and situations and places. I didn't know that just like when I scare any of my kids or grandkids, when I scared them, the first thing you do is cry. Fear hurts. So when I'm scaring myself, I hurt. I didn't know how to make that connection until I started doing codependence work, but fear hurts. And so it is, we know today, even Bill W., the founder of the original 12-step program, he knew this. He understood that fear was our dilemma. He didn't recognize that half of our fear is the fear of shame, the fear one more time, looking dumb, stupid, and not enough, not good enough, not fitting in, being abandoned, hundreds of toxic shame messages. So what we suggest is to write out the fears, one-line statements, maybe 2 lines at the most, because for me, if I do more than 1 line, usually it's my intellectual mind trying to get in there and tell the story. And instead of saying, this car came around the corner, almost hit me, and I had to jump back on the curb, that's all I would write. My intellectual mind will go, well, let's see, it was about 2:47 in the afternoon, it was a bright blue sky, the traffic was mild, and I'm trying to intellectually diffuse all this panic that I just felt. And so we want to pour it out on paper. So we really found over the years that 1-line statements work very well, 2 lines at the most, and we've basically put them into 3 categories, and the first category is what we call problem-solving fears. These are fears that aren't really, they're the lowest, they're the only real healthy fear there is, which we call concern. It gets my attention, it helps me pay attention. I write a note, I make sure I take care of this when I get home, and I don't think about it for the rest of the day, and it doesn't affect my well-being. It just gets my attention. The second area we've talked about is fears of shame, and those are fears of, it took me a while to get this, but I got it, that if I'm afraid that you're going to judge me about something, it's because I've already judged myself. And I'm afraid you're going to validate it and make it real. So my ego doesn't want you to do that, so I'll scare myself, make sure I control it, and make it all okay so that you don't judge me, so that I won't have to feel toxic shame. So fears of shame, pour them out on paper. And then we have to, for me, there's a tool that, I know I'm taking a little bit of extra time on this, but it's so critical, because fear is the base, the core emotion behind all codependence. And we learned a long time ago, there was a treatment program that experimented here in Arizona with this concept called the 5-second rule. And if we can intervene on our thoughts or fantasies, which fear is nothing but a fantasy, there's only 2 kinds of fantasies. There's excitement and there's fear. And so they're all stories we're making up about what it's going to be like. Fear say it's going to be bad. Excitement goes, this feels great, so I'm going to stay in this fantasy so I can medicate my fear fantasy. So it's crazy making, but it's all one core process. And we've learned that if we could intervene on the fear thought in 3 to 5 seconds, which is the fantasy, we can stop the brain from releasing chemistry associated with panic into our nervous system. So been a practice for me for a long time. If I can catch the fear that kicks up in that 3 to 5 seconds, which sounds like a tiny bit of time, but in thinking, it's a long time. I can think a lot of thoughts in 3 to 5 seconds. If I can catch it and intervene, I can back that off and reframe the fear. Because the fear is a lie. It's always a story about how bad it's going to be. And instead, Sometimes it might be, you know, that might happen. If it does, here's what we're going to do to take care of it. Back off. So a lot of folks I know around the program for a long time, they call that part of us the fear monger. And it comes from a very specific place in the brain. And it's accumulated. In AA, they called it the shitty committee that meets in my head. And I heard that in my first few weeks clean and sober. And it's a collection, we know today, of all the messages from all the fear messages from all the authority figures from our childhood. And it's in a very specific part of our brain. So there's other part of my brain called the self-parent has to back them off and tell them to stop. Yeah, but what if? Stop. But you don't, but, no. And I mean, a few times I've done some pretty powerful emotional release work to get that part of me to shut up. Because it's all I had to rely on to save my butt many times. Except it doesn't work anymore. It just causes more pain and suffering. So, same thing. We want to write out those fears of shame, and then what would God's highest truth be in response to each one of those statements? I'm not enough. Well, the fact is I am absolutely enough. Now I have a choice. Am I going to indulge in a loving, true statement, or am I going to indulge in the fear? The third area, or just third, you know, general fears about, a lot of times it's called generalized anxiety. General fears about bad things happening. So if we've got a fear condition going on in our body, anxiety going on in our body, we'll find things to attach it to make it legitimate. I mean, it can be the same thing I've seen for the last 5 years on a daily basis that I think is really pretty great. And then today, out of nowhere, I go, oh, they don't like me. And it's like, oh, where did this come from? Who cares? You know, if they love me, great. If they don't, my well-being isn't based on them. So reframing toxic shame, toxic fear messages is critical. So my brain picks up the new message and it chooses to rely more and more on the positive, loving messages than the fear. And my belief is my higher power waits for me to do that. I've been given the tools, and it's up to me to apply them. If I know how to intervene on fear and stop it from happening and create a loving truth in response to it, and I don't do that, then I'm choosing to indulge in this over here, and I'm going to suffer from it. So, all that being said, we'll move on. So we'll go through the rest of these fairly quickly. Stick to a reasonable daily schedule. For me, I found it extremely helpful that on the days that, oh, this is fascinating. I'm sorry, I'm distracted just only because there's a parade of cars going down our street celebrating somebody. Right now. Oh, I want to take this out there and show you guys. That is so cool. Anyway, somebody graduated. So I found it helpful to get, on the days that I'm working, to get up at regular time, take a shower, just like I was going to go to the office, put on the clothes I would wear to the office, and be ready to go to work. And that helps me get in that daily schedule that I'm working today. On my days off will be something very different unless we have events planned. For us, an event happened to be nothing more than going to look at houses in everything short of a hazmat suit. So, literally, mask, face, hair, you know, hands, booties, you name it. We were walking into some of these houses. It was a little scary. Barry put this in here, and I'll let her respond. Bathe and brush your teeth every day.
The basics.
Well, then we started laughing and started thinking about 8 more things we would probably put in there, but probably wouldn't be appropriate for this workshop. Play games, participate in some form of hobby, recreation, productivity, play games with family, with friends online, play games and some of these are obviously self-evident. So I want to move on to 19, and Mary's going to go from there.
Okay.
These guys are having a great time.
They are. We can hear all these horns honking out there.
We thought it was for us, first of all, but I guess it isn't.
So number 19, find new creative ways to play and have fun. And that can just be, not much said on that. That can just be something that's fun. A healthy diet, avoiding too many stimulants like sugar and caffeine. You know, because of the fear issue that a lot of times I know that I've struggled with during all of this, and that I do when there's times of adversity. You know, that just seems to bring up that stress and fear. And caffeine and sugar make it worse. Always known that, and that's the first thing I want to go to. So, if you're in a relationship at home, make sure that you create consistent time apart to avoid the circumstantial enmeshment. I already talked a little bit about that, so I won't go into it, but it is so important to be able to do that.
They call it Velcro codependence.
Well, describe the rest of it. No. When you check, so when you're breaking enmeshment, it feels like when you pull Velcro apart. So that's what I wanted you to share. A little of my control issues. Okay, so if you have children at home, if possible, I know not every situation you can, but do shared parenting. If that's not possible, then ask for help. If it is all possible at all, sometimes even that is not possible in certain situations. But of course, do the best you can. Get outside for sunshine, fresh air. I had noticed for myself that whenever I feel kind of in that sort of closed down place, if I get outside, look at the sky, or at nighttime, watch the stars at night, breathe, hug a tree, all of that, it's like the world opens up in that. If possible, even drive to a new destination every 2 to 3 days. No matter what, know that you're not alone. We are truly in this all together. Practice loving self-care and loving self-acceptance of where you are right here, right now, and truly know that it's enough in that. So those are just, and for us, there are 26 items we came up with. There's so much wisdom in this program. We could probably add another 300 on there. Tools that would be healthy, so even brainstorming with your friends and your families on those kinds of things. Ken is going to, oh yes, we wanted to open up a little bit, almost got us out of order, open up a little bit for some questions. And we'll do a little bit of Q&A for probably about 20 minutes. And I'll set the timer on that too. So because Ken is going to be doing a guided imagery, and then we have something that I'll be sharing that we wrote in the workshop. So we just wanted to open it up. If anybody has any questions, do the little blue hand waving to Christina.
Questions and answers, or sharing anything in addition to what we've shared, because we certainly don't have all the answers. We'd love to hear from you all as well. So.
Thank you. Are you guys going to time like each person as I let them on? Are you going to give them like a couple minutes, or how to?
We would recommend to people to keep, so more people can share, and try to keep your share to a couple of minutes.
Okay, yeah. Linda, can we put for safety's sake up so we can just make sure that the sharing is safe for everybody?
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you. All
right, yes. So right now, we're going to open it up for sharing questions or just basic sharing, and we will time that. And so on the screen here, it is for safety's sake guidelines, and I will read it. I use I statements when I share. I feel, I believe. I share my own experience, strength, and hope, no one else's. I refrain from commenting on what others share. I share for 3 to 5 minutes, but I think we'll do 2. Keeping the focus on myself. I help myself and others by being emotionally present and honest. I let others experience their own feelings, and I keep my advice to myself. All right. Thank you, Linda. And I'm sorry, are you guys timing, or would you like me to?
We can time.
Okay. All right. So I have Annie up next, and I will unmute you, Annie. It's your turn.
Hi, my name's Annie. I'm a codependent from Liverpool. So lovely to see you, Ken and Mary. I know that I met you when you were over there. I just wanted to show me gratitude for the workshop that you've put on today. It's been phenomenal. And I wanted to thank you for something that I've just got, because currently I'm on my way back to my child. That's where I'm on my way. And a friend sent me a picture of me and her from when we were younger, and I haven't really seen pictures of me from when I'm younger. So I know that my higher power's up to something, which is really good. But I really loved what you just said about the 4 pictures. Well, there's one, you know, the way that you've just said that, I was like, right, I'm getting a journal. I'm going to put them 4 pictures in. And I've always, you know, I've got an identity of me inner child. But when you said about the inner teen, I thought, yeah, she's hidden. So I think that you just honestly gave, like, I felt myself light up inside when you'd always give like a piece of something. Well, you give millions of stuff, but there's always something new to take away from both of you. So I just want to honestly extend my gratitude for what you have done, you know, for me, my life, and my kids and my family, you know, because this breeds out into the whole of us. So yeah, just thanks for making a difference in the world and the lives of us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So welcome.
All right. Barbara, Bay Cities.
Hello. Thank you guys again for your wonderful share. And I have a question, 2 minutes. All right, I got it in my head. Mary, these questions for you, and I have one for you as well. Ken, you were talking something about pain and making pain your higher power or something. I didn't get to write, like, I'm not saying go over the whole thing again, but what was you saying, like, when journaling on that? Like,
Yeah, so sometimes because codependence is a conflict in God, besides people, places, and things, we can also make feelings our higher power. So we can give them more power in our lives than giving God the power.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, does that help?
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And
You're welcome.
saying something about journaling and intellectual. Make sure when you're writing, you're not like doing intellectual or the other one, because I totally related with that. Like, I do that whole story bit. Well, was this day on?
Yes.
Well, what was the other one besides intellectual for journaling?
Oh, well, it would be to instead focus on the feelings. For me, it's focusing on 7 primary feelings, because I believe that all other feelings are derivatives of those 7 primary feelings. And so I'll go through those 7 and write about what, you know, 1-line statements. You know, what am I hurt about? What am I angry about?
What am I hurting, angry?
Lonely.
Oh, okay, those ones.
Guilt, joy.
Joy.
Oh, I like that. Okay, those ones, those feelings.
All right, thank you. I'm writing it down. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Okay, dismiss. Oh, okay.
Barbara. And now I have Julia. Julia, you are up next. Julia?
Unmuted.
I can hear you, yep.
Oh, you
Hi,
can hear
Julie.
me? Oh, hi. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, I have a question. So my partner and I have been isolated together in different degrees for over 7 years. Like we've literally been dependent on each other in life and death, and longer chronic health situations, and just getting daily needs met for over 7 years, dealing with very severe illnesses for both of us. We have a very small house with very little privacy. And as you were talking about the effects of pandemic, so we have been dealing with effects of pandemic or isolation for so long, and this is sort of like a different version of it. But I wondered if you can talk a little about what this isolation can do over long term, and how to create some space. Yeah.
So I guess a couple things. I think in that, first on the creating of space of, I don't, excuse me, know the specifics with your situation, but if there's any way, even if you are, my thought is if you are kept isolated in your home, any way to get outside, go for walks, go sit outside, have a picnic outside, or do anything to where it's outside of the four walls. That I know that helps me if I can, when I again start feeling a little bit closed in, to get outside. It helps. Oops, I guess that 2 minutes went by fast. And the enmeshment piece of it, that can happen, the circumstantial enmeshment, I think it especially, I can only guess that if it's been 7 years, that's quite a period of time, that it takes a lot more work to make sure you have your individuality and your individual lives at some level. I mean, I would need to if it were me, I would probably need to make sure that, I had people I was talking to on a daily basis. So say Ken was sick, that it wasn't just all revolved around dealing with that, but that there were some things that are outside those four walls, again, people outside those four walls that I could connect with. I mean, I can only kind of bring it into myself since we don't do advice giving, but, I can only kind of imagine if that was me, that would be something I would probably look into doing. But God bless you. I mean,
Yes.
It must be challenging.
I know for me, it's really helpful if I go outside of the relationship to get fed, and then come in and feed the relationship, rather than if I try to feed off of Mary, pretty soon there's nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
She's my all, she's my everything, she completes me, and I can do it to a point to where there's just nothing left. So when I go outside and I get fed and I bring it into the relationship, and she does that too, it enhances, it grows us, rather than feeding off of each other.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. We have JS next.
Hi, I just have a quick, thank you. I have a quick question. You mentioned the 5 seconds rule, and I just wondered if you could spend a minute or two just explaining a little bit more about how to practice that.
Well, the rule came from originally when they were in a treatment setting that was exploring, trying to understand sex addiction and what it was really about, and they, made the insight and connection that sex addiction isn't much about sex; it's about fantasy, and that they could, if we could intervene on the fantasy within 3 to 5 seconds, we could stop the brain from releasing sexual addiction chemistry into our body. And then, we've taken that and just worked with that same concept. Whatever I intervene on that isn't in my best interest, I can, if I intervene on that thought within 3 to 5 seconds and then reframe the thought into something loving or true or powerful, it will stop the chemistry from going into my nervous system. So the fear is felt by the nervous system. And so if I intervene on that thought in 3 to 5 seconds, go, no, stop. The truth is, because fear is a lie. So the truth is, and then state the truth. For me, it said, when I started to do this, it set up a power struggle between the old habit of fearing and the new thought of loving empowerment. Is that helpful?
Yes, it is. And it's simply a matter of saying, no, this is wrong.
Yes.
This is the truth. And like even
I'm
saying
literally,
it out loud to yourself.
yes, because it is within me. I'm scaring myself. You're not. Or Mary or anybody else. I scare myself about you. I have a fear part of my brain that has been trying to control me and keep me safe since I was a very young child.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Is there anything that like y'all have written about this?
No.
Okay, I'm just gonna jump in and practice it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, JS. I just wanted to chime in. Somebody had mentioned in the chat that volunteering is a great way to take care of yourself in the pandemic, to get out of our own heads, contributes to the community, and helps with self-esteem.
Great suggestion.
Yes.
That's a good one. We love being of service on this events committee. We're a great committee too. And we are fun. Okay, we are fun. And we're becoming global. Okay, we have Alan next. I will unmute you. Go ahead, Alan.
Hi, Mary and Ken. Great workshop, thank you. I'm here in Australia.
Oh my gosh.
Hi.
And, I'm actually 3 weeks. I'm 42 years sober.
Nice.
And I
That's
noticed
amazing.
that you're 4 years sober. And Mary, fantastic. Great job, man. I love this CoDA because it's given me a new insight into the 12 steps. And I think you understand what I'm saying. I've been involved with the 12 step for 4 decades, but this is giving me a deeper insight. And Mary, I'm going to listen to what you say. I'm going to get those 4 photos of when I was a teenager. I've got the one with a little boy. I've got that one already. I've got a teddy bear, but I haven't got those other 3. So thank you very much. And I've really enjoyed the workshop.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan.
You.
Thank you, Alan. All right.
So we probably have time for one more, and then we'll go into the guided imagery.
Okay. So we have Amen.
Hi, I'm a man. I'm a codependent. I just wanted to, hi, I'm here in London. It's really late here. I just wanted to share my gratitude to God and CoDA. CoDA is really changing my life. I grew up in a very, like in a household where there was addiction and alcoholism. And it became a survival mechanism for me, just living daily with the fear of losing people I loved and not being able to recognize the effects of that. And since I joined CoDA, I have been able to understand the unmanageability of that and how much that's really affected me. And I've been able to work through, you know, like knowing that there is a solution and the awareness is really helping me. So I just want to say thank you to you guys and all the people who founded CoDA, and all my outreach fellows and my sponsor, who I met through one of these workshops, and he's in Arizona, even though I'm in London, and God, and yeah, just thank you so much. It's really changing my life. It was a problem I never understood. I was so confused, and it was slowly taking me to breaking point. And now I understand. I can put myself first. I can show up for myself, and I can know ultimately I'm not alone. So thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. I think we're going to take that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a guided imagery, and then we're going to close with a brief reading. So what I would recommend is that you try to make yourself comfortable, and, you know, ideally not so comfortable you're going to fall asleep, but if you do, that's great. Take about 3 or 4 deep breaths. And with each breath that you exhale, allow yourself to release any and all stresses, any and all frustrations, any and all overwhelms, becoming more relaxed. Allow your eyes to just close naturally. Even more relaxed. And finally, coming to rest in your own being. Now follow your next breath to your heart. Move your consciousness from your head to your heart. We can move our consciousness anywhere we want to. Once there, see the brilliant, beautiful, truly amazing, pure light of love that dwells there. It is always there. We may distract from it, but it is always there. And as you see it, breathe into it and see it grow brighter and lighter and expand to fill your entire being. Your entire body, every cell, every atom, every fiber, every tissue, every molecule, filled with this pure light of love. And now breathe into it and see it grow and expand beyond your body to the true, amazing, magnificent spiritual being that you are. This is who you were when you came into this world, who you are now, and who you will be when you leave. Far greater than this physical body. And breathe into that truly magnificent, beautiful spiritual being and see it grow lighter and brighter, filled with the pure love presence of God. And now extend your arms as your spiritual being. Extend your arms out to your sides a little bit and allow your energies to flow to every single person in this workshop, wherever they may be. And allow their energies to flow to you. And feel those energies passing through you and yours flowing from you to everyone in this workshop. so that we truly connect with the oneness of who we are. We are one truly beautiful, amazing family of CoDA. And now, as a family of CoDA, beautifully amazing spiritual beings, see that energy that we have created expand beyond our family to encompass this earth and all living things. Every human being, every plant, every animal, all living things. And know that you are sending love, the purest power of all, to every living thing on this planet. And see this energy, seek out this virus, this coronavirus, and to simply diminish it. Clearing it from the earth, and without judgment, simply loving it, and letting it know we no longer have need of it, diminishing it and see it dissolve and be gone from this world. And now focus once again on this beautiful, amazing spiritual being that you are, and draw your energies back into you as this amazing spiritual being. And with the beautiful, pure energy of love that we created that surrounds this earth, allow it to remain while you, as this spiritual being that you are, return to the workshop. And when you are ready, simply open your eyes and remain quiet until everyone is back. Before we close, Mary has a reading that she'd like to complete and share with you. So, Linda, could you bring that up? Thank you.
Our CoDA third step made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand God. Helps us to remind that loving self-care is an important part of being willing to be willing. If we are not taking care of ourselves emotionally, spiritually, physically, intellectually, or sexually, we can be more susceptible to returning to a conflict in God, making ourselves, others, even our feelings more important than our higher power. Making a decision includes intentional thought, intentional surrender, and intentional willingness to allow our higher power to guide us, to teach us, to heal us, to love us, right here, right now. The tools we have listed are helpful for self-care, self-love, and loving surrender. This is a short list, for there are endless ways we can love ourselves. In taking action to love our higher power and ourselves, living the third step is much easier. It is always important to remember that we are human beings, lovable and fallible. There is no perfection in recovery. There's no perfection in life. It is a process made from a beautiful, loving heart that we continue on this journey. And thank you all for continuing on this journey with us.